Alright guys, here we go. It's time for probably the most controversial video of the entire year. It is time to predict the Scottish Premiership table and who will finish where. So I'm going to be predicting the teams obviously from 12th to 1st or from 1st to last, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But by the end of this video, we will be finding out my full predicted Scottish Premiership League standing. So, disclaimer note, if you support a team that I bash a lot in this video, and I might be bashing quite a few of them, then no hard feelings. And with that said, I think we should probably start with team number 12, or as I like to call them, the shittest team in the league. And for me, that is St Johnstone. Now, over a year and a half ago, I could never have dreamt that I would be putting St Johnstone to finish last and automatically get relegated. Callum Davidson completed one of the best achievements I've ever seen. And I said it at the time, he should have won Manager of the Year over Steven Gerrard. 100%. As impressive as Gerrard's, invincible title win was, what Callum Davidson done, winning both domestic cups with a team the size of St Johnstone, that was just incredible. I mean, that will not be done again, right? That was tremendous. And Rangers fans were saying that, well, it's easier to win 2 cups. It took Rangers a decade to win a cup. Yet St Johnstone won both domestic cups on offer in the same season, and they're St Johnstone. I mean, if you're Rangers or Celtic, winning both domestic cups isn't really, it's a good achievement, but it's not really groundbreaking, let's be real. But if you're St Johnstone, winning both the cups is unreal, and I don't think that's going to happen again. Probably never again. I mean, if a team outside Old Firm does do it, it would be like a Hearts or Aberdeen or something, but even then, I think that is highly unlikely. But yeah, it was a great achievement for Callum Davidson. I take nothing away from him, but pretty much everything and everybody has been taken away from that St Johnstone team since then. They've consistently sold their best players in the transfer windows. It also kind of started when Ali McCann left. You had, was it Liam Gordon left? Who was the defender? I can't remember, but I know Ali McCann left, and then I think their best defender left that season as well. And then this season, we have Callum Hendry leaving, we've got Jamie McCart leaving, Craig Bryson leaving, Liam Craig leaving, Sean Rooney leaving. The entire core of that St Johnstone squad is pretty much gone. And they have made a few signings this season. They got Jamie Murphy in on Hibs for a free, Dre Wright for Hibs on a free, 2 players that weren't really featuring, Andy Considine for Aberdeen on a free, and really I think Andy Considine's done as a player. I wouldn't say that's a good signing at all. The only signing St Johnstone made this season I think could be okay is Adam Montgomery on loan from Celtic, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near enough to keep St Johnstone up. So I'm going to go for St Johnstone to finish 12th. And again, I wouldn't even be surprised if Callum Davidson gets sacked during the season. He was great, but yeah, since that cup double, it's just went downhill for them. So in 12th place, guys, I'm going to go the Saints. I don't think many people would argue that, to be fair. Moving in at number 11, I'm going to go with Scotland's shame, and that is Motherwell. Embarrassing. I mean, losing 3-0 in aggregate to Sligo Rovers. What more can I say? It was fucking embarrassing. I'm looking at this Motherwell team, and this is an average squad. This is a championship level squad. You take Liam Kelly and you take Stephen O'Donnell out of this team, and this is bare bones. It's not good. They've already sold a number of key players this season, like Liam Donnelly, Mark O'Hara. So I think that they will be right down the bottom. Now, they have brought in Blair Spittle on a free from Ross County and Paul McGinn for Hibs. Now, these are okay signings. I don't think these are horrible signings, but I don't think it's anywhere near enough. And then today, they just sacked Graham Alexander. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because he had to go. He should have went last night. That is 100% facts. He should have left last night after losing to Sligo Rovers. But starting the new season, a day before the start of the season, and you're going into it without a manager, that is just not ideal whatsoever. It could affect Motherwell immensely at the start. Don't get me wrong, depending on who they could bring in, my position for them might even change, but I need to do the predictions now, and at the moment I'm predicting that Motherwell will finish in 11th place. So I'm going to put Motherwell in there. They will be in the playoff relegation spot, and honestly, I would not be surprised if they went down, because they're a bad lot. Moving on to number 10, and I am going to go with St Mirren. I think they have struggled a lot since Goodwin left. I think up front they've got decent firepower, especially with Eamon Brophy. This season they have brought in Mark O'Hara from Motherwell, Trevor Carson for Dundee United, Declan Gallagher coming in for Aberdeen. Now, he had a horrendous season at Aberdeen, but I thought he was good at Motherwell, and now he's reuniting with his former boss, Stephen Robinson. So I think Declan Gallagher could maybe, get his career going again at St Mirren. In terms of players that they've lost, some key ones, got Kyle McAllister, Jan Alnwick in nets, Alan Power. So I do think St Mirren will struggle, but I think they'll have enough just to avoid the relegation places. And I think Declan Gallagher could be a big player for them this season. So I'm going to go St Mirren in 10th. Moving on to 9th now. I don't like putting them this low, but I think this is where they will finish. And it's going to be David Martindale's Livingston. Every season, they just seem to get weaker and weaker. They don't have the finances, the funds to replace their best players. This season, their key player, their main man, in my opinion, Alan Forrest, has left. He has went to Hearts. He's become a Jambo. And I just think the Livingston squad gets weaker and weaker. They're very good at home, and I think it could be their home form that keeps them safe in the league. But sooner or later, David Martindale, he isn't going to be able to outperform this squad season in, season out. I think he'll finish 9th, and I think 9th would be a solid season for Livingston. I mean, they just cannot keep overperforming. It is what it is. Sooner or later, they're going to get found out. And I think arguably their squad's maybe even lower than 9th, but I do think their home form and David Martindale will get them 9th spot. Now we're moving into number 8. This is probably going to be controversial. People are probably going to say, oh, you're only saying this because you support the other team. But I don't. I'm saying this because I genuinely think their manager is not up to the task. I don't think their signings have been good enough, and I think they have been pretty dreadful since they sold their best player in January. And I'm going to go with Hibernian in 8th. I don't like Lee Johnson. Aidan McGeady, the wonder signing, the signing that was supposed to turn things around for them at 35 years old, 36. The guy's not been relevant in years. He's already injured now. I think he's out for about 2 months. I just don't think Hibs have made good signings. I'm looking at this Hibs team. I mean, the squad itself is okay. I mean, the squad should be finishing top 6, but I don't think Lee Johnson's the man. I don't think they should ever get rid of Jack Ross. I think that was a big, big mistake. And that's why I think Hibernian will finish as low as 8th. And I honestly would not be surprised if we see Lee Johnson getting fired before the end of the season. Moving into number 7, I'm going to go with Ross County, mainly due just to the fact I think Malky Mackay is a great manager. I love Malky Mackay. Well, I don't love him, but I mean, I think he's a solid manager. And honestly, man, if Robbie Nielsen left Hearts tomorrow, I would take Malky Mackay. I would be interested in getting Malky Mackay. I think the guy is pretty good. I like him. I think he could go places. In terms of signings, I haven't really noticed many of the players that Ross County have brought in this season, but Jordi Halua did stick out for me. Former Manchester City player. He was currently playing his football at Doncaster Rovers, and I've actually had him in my Football Manager series. Now, I know that doesn't mean shit. Football Manager's a game, but it was always good for me. So he could be a replacement for Regal Charles Cook. Kind of similar players as well. So, I think they could have a decent season. Speaking of Regan Charles Cook, obviously he left the club on a free, which was not ideal. It just sucks that they couldn't get anything for him. Again, that's a big issue in Scottish football when teams, key players are leaving and they don't get any money at all. It's not good business. They also lost Blair Spittle to Motherwell and a few other players they released. So I think Ross County will do enough. I don't think they'll be anywhere near a relegation battle, but I think they will just miss out on the top 6. So that is my opinion. Moving on to number 6, we are going to go with newly promoted Kilmarnock. And again, kind of similar to Ross County, I just think Derek McInnes is a great manager. I think he is good. I thought he was very harshly treated by Aberdeen and Aberdeen fans. He didn't deserve to get kicked out the club the way he did, just because of a run of draws, really. It is what it is. It's not his fault that Aberdeen, season after season, have continually sold their best players and just not replaced them. I don't see how that's McKinn's fault. Aberdeen almost expect their squad to get worse, but they expect the performances and results to get better, and it just doesn't work out that way. But for Kilmarnock, I think some of the signings that they brought in are like typical Kilmarnock players, like tough guys, like guys that are just rugged and will get stuck in, like Alan Power, they got on a free for St Mirren, Liam Donnelly, they got on a free for Motherwell, and they brought in their former player Jordan Jones, and if he can find the form that he had in his first spell at Kilmarnock, then I think he could be a dark horse for player of the season. That's how good I think Jordan Jones could be, and I think he will be a key part of Kilmarnock getting a top 6 finish. So I'm putting Kilmarnock 6th. Now we're moving into the top 5, and the next 2 places I really could have put either way. I mean, it was a difficult decision, but in the end, I went for Dundee United. I think Dundee United are going to be... I think they're going to be better than they were last season, even though I'm putting them a position below where they finished last season. I think overall as a squad, I think performances will be better, I think results will be better, and I think they'll actually get a higher points tally. The only problem for me is I do think there's a couple of teams that will improve out from last season, and that's why I put Dundee United in 5th place. But I'm excited to see what Jack Ross can do. Like I said, I think Jack Ross is another good manager, kind of similar to Derek McKinn's. I think Hibs got rid of him far too quickly, and I'm interested to see how the signings at Dundee United got on. Obviously, they signed Tony Watt last season, always capable of scoring goals. They brought in Stephen Fletcher on a free. They managed to sign Dylan Levitt on a permanent deal for Manchester United, which in my opinion could be a tremendous, bit of piece of business. They got Craig Sibbald on loan for on a free for Livingston, and they also managed to sign Mart Baraghetti from Central Coast Mariners, who is supposed to be a solid player. So, I don't know. I've never seen him, but I think Dundee United will get 5th. So, I'm going to say Dundee United 5th. And I think the gap between the 5th and 6th place teams could be pretty big, but I'm going to go Dundee United in 5th place. Moving on to number 4, I'm going to go with the Sheep. I'm going to go with Aberdeen. I think Jim Goodwin, given a full season at Aberdeen and getting some players in, I think he'll be pretty good. Now, yes, they have sold their best 2 players, no doubt about it. Lewis Ferguson, pardon me, man. Lewis Ferguson, Calvin Ramsey leaving. That's massive. 100%, that is massive. But I do think for once Aberdeen have actually done pretty well in the transfer business, regardless of what the idiots at Talk Scottish Football say that I mean, they need to change the name of that channel. Talk Scottish Football, yet they know fuck all about Scottish football. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But Aberdeen have brought in Liam Scales on loan for Celtic, who I think is a good player. I think he'll be a key part of Aberdeen's team. Brought in Jaden Richardson from Nottingham Forest. Got Anthony Stewart in. They brought in North Macedonian international Bojan Miłowski up front for MTK Budapest. They brought in Callum Roberts too. And then they had the Portuguese guy from Benfica, Lewis something, I can't remember his name, but they brought him for like 400k, and I think he is going to be a really, really good player. So, and I think Aberdeen have done good business. Now, in terms of players that they've let go, I'm looking at them. Apart from Ferguson, Calvin Ramsey, I don't think there's any massive losses here. Considine's not a loss. Dylan Magoo's not a loss. Ojo's not a loss. Michael Roof, it's not a loss. Dean Campbell's been sent out on loan. I think Dean Campbell's okay. I'm surprised they maybe didn't keep him to be a squad player, rotation player, but they've decided to loan him out to Stevenage, so, I mean, who knows? Still very young, so maybe a loan ain't the worst move for him. Declan Gallagher, who I do believe is decent, he just didn't show it last season, so, again, I don't think he's a big loss compared to what he done last year. So, I mean, Aberdeen, yeah, they lost their 2 key players, but apart from that, I think they brought in well, and most of the other players that they've sold, I think, will not be any loss at all. So I think we could see a rejuvenated Aberdeen this season. 3rd place, I'm going Hearts. I'm not going to speak too much about this. I've already did a Hearts season preview. So if you want to see why I think Hearts will finish 3rd, then go and check that out. It's on the channel. But basically, a quick summary is, obviously we've got Robbie Nielsen. And we have got, in my opinion, the 3rd best squad in the country, with Shankland up front, who I think will score 20 plus goals this season. Yeah, no, and we've got the best goalkeeper in the league as well. So, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of reasons. I do think it'll be closer, though. I do think it could be very close between Hearts, Aberdeen and Dundee United. When I say close, I think it could potentially come down to the last couple of games. We could have a freeway battle for 3rd place, but I do think in the end, Hearts will do enough to get 3rd place. So I'm going Hearts in 3rd. Now, moving on to the top two, a lot of people saying this, most people are saying this is a very close title race. Obviously, you've got the odd Rangers fans saying that Rangers will win it easily, and you've got the odd Celtic fans saying Celtic will win it easily, but most people, in fairness, have said that this could go either way, and it's probably the first time in like a decade where we don't really know where the title is heading. I mean, last year, everybody thought Rangers would win it. The year before that, everybody thought Celtic would win it. In both years, everybody was pretty much wrong. And while I do agree that it will be close, I don't think there'll be much in it. For me, this is not really a difficult choice. I think it will be tight, but for me, there's one team that I think will win, and there's one team I think will come second. And the team I think will come second is the Glasgow Rangers. Now, the reason for this is people have ridiculed Celtic, especially Rangers fans. They've claimed that Celtic have spent 13 million to stand still. And that is one way of looking at it. You know, they had those players on loan last year. By paying that money, all they've done's kept them there, whatever. So, I mean, you can almost see where they're coming from, but when you think about it, it's like if Celtic didn't pay that money, then they would have lost their two best players. So they would have went backwards. And speaking of going backwards, Rangers sold their best two players this season. Joe Rebo and Calvin Bassey. Now, Rangers fans, all they want to talk about is how good a business selling Calvin Bassey and Joe Rebo was and how much money it got for the club. But they're not talking about the impact it'll have on the squad and the holes in quality, the gaps in quality that selling those two leaves. So I don't understand how Rangers fans are, talking so much about how Celtic have spent 13 million to stand still, whereas Rangers have actually went backwards based on the two players that they've sold. So Celtic showed some ambition to pay money to keep their best players, whereas Rangers showed less ambition by selling their best players to get money. So honestly, I don't get it. Those two, the Carter figures, Jota and Aribo, Bassey signings aside, I think it's been pretty equal. I mean, I would probably give Rangers the edge in the transfer market. I think Rangers have maybe signed the better players, but when you think about it, Rangers have lost their two best players, so I think they need to have a much better market than Celtic to make up for that fact. Plus, Celtic are the reigning champions. I do believe Celtic have a better team. And came in, I think the team's a lot fresher. I think the team will get better. I look at Rangers' team, and obviously they've made signings, but if you look at last year's team, it's been the same kind of core group of players for Rangers now for 3 or 4 seasons, and I do believe it's getting a bit stale. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Last season, I said Rangers would win the league. 3 games in, I changed my mind, and I said Celtic would 100% win the league, and I was right about that. So, I might do something similar. I might see the first couple of games and I might just change my mind and go, you know what, I've got this one wrong, Rangers are going to win. But for now, I can only go based on what I've seen last season, and I can only go based on the signings that have been made in the current squads. And for me, I just think that Celtic will have the edge. I don't think it'll be much in it. I don't think it'll be double points or anything like that. I think it'll go to the split with the title race still on. But I think when all is said and done, I think Celtic will just finish ahead of Rangers. So that's why I'm going to put Celtic in first place with Rangers in second. Is where my Scottish Premiership predictions will end. So I could be wrong, I could be right. We'll see come the end of the season. But I'm looking at this table and I think this will be pretty spot on. Obviously, I'm not going to get every single position right, but I'd be surprised if I don't get about 8 of them correct, if I'm being honest. So I am confident in this prediction. St Johnstone 12, Motherwell 11th, St Mirren 10th, Livingston 9th, Hibernian 8th, Ross County 7th, Kilmarnock 6th. I'm going to go with the European qualifiers. Dundee United 5th, Aberdeen 4th, Hearts in 3rd. We've got Rangers getting the Champions League qualifying position in second place, runners up, and then I think Celtic will retain their league title. And again, once again, go straight into the Champions League group stages. So guys, that's my prediction. Let me know what you think down below. I cannot wait for the start of the new season, man. We'll be pumping out vids like there's no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Let's be real with football. There is no tomorrow. And there'll be no tomorrow if Hearts get beat. That's for sure. Anyway, till next time, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Peace.